guys out there tuning in today and just hit play, welcome to this week's episode of Chasing Birdies, my man JP.
What is shaking?
Dude, it feels good to see you again, man. I feel like, it's one of those things I see every other day.
Yeah, between FaceTime and all that, but I cannot wait. I mean, we are literally under 3 weeks for our first golf trip.
I thought you were going to say Christmas, dude. We're
actually
under a week.
Yeah, we're about 6 days away. My children, Parker and Peyton, remind me every day what the count is, it's a little exciting in the house, dude. I mean, got the kids running around, the elves are moving and grooving around the house. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, good. I'm happy one of us feels that way. I'm happy. And maybe you get some Red Vanley for Christmas, because I know you need some.
Yes. And today's episode is brought to you by Red Vanley. So make sure you go to redvanley.com. Check the boys out. I haven't heard from Jimbo in a little bit, so I hope that he's still kicking. I saw him at the Rangers game a few weeks ago, but I just packed my bags for the golf trip, bud. As you would imagine that I already packed, but I was just so excited to lay the Red Vanley shorts out and see what I'm going to pair with it.
So I've been swinging the stack, the speed stack thing, just to keep me loose. I'm not really doing the exercises at this point, but anyways, I'm just swinging it to keep loose and whatnot, hitting some balls in the net. But this past weekend, I was hitting balls, and here, look, my
that's
pinky
terrible.
Finger interlocking grip, my nail. I must not have cut my nail like absolutely like clear cut. So I had a little piece pointing out, and it just started ripping. I'm like, what in the heck is like doing? And it was that. So I cut myself. But I'm thinking about when I'm addressing the ball, I feel like sometimes we as amateur golfers get sloppy, and sometimes our head position at address sometimes goes a little behind the ball, which in theory makes sense to think that you can hit it easier, like if your head's behind the ball. So I was really kind of trying to keep my head right, even feeling a little in front of the ball, and the ball striking was good. What do you think about that?
I don't even know what your mind's blown. There's just too much going on there. So I see ball, hit ball.
Doesn't matter. So. Yeah. Right. Okay.
But
understood.
Sounds good, man. I like what you're doing. Yeah.
So
preparation for 2025 is underway officially.
Yeah. No, it is. And I scooped up Benny a little set of clubs here recently, and try to get him swinging it a little bit. But Ashley's been
nice.
Got him a little set, and we'll see what happens. But how was your weekend? How was your week been? You guys busy at the jewelry store? I see you guys posting stuff everywhere. You got jewelry slinging left, right, and the other.
Yeah, the Euroline's been moving and grooving, boys, in the back side of the building. So that's been nice. It's exciting. I think it might be our biggest year ever, bud.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Which that's exciting for everyone involved. But yeah, dude, it's great. So I'm excited for the new year, set some new goals. Last year 2024, my year was summed up with a wiffle ball bat and a Q-tip.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't think we discussed the Q-tip story, but I was leaving for a work trip about 2 weeks ago, and it was 4:30 in the morning, and I went to put a Q-tip in my ears just so I remember to clean my ears out. So I laid a Q-tip in each ear canal. Just laid it in there softly. And I went to throw my sport coat on. Well, my right arm hit the Q-tip and drove it straight into my eardrum. So punctured the eardrum. Sounded like I was in a tunnel for about 2 weeks. But I feel like we're coming back a little bit. So
damn, dude. At least it gives you an excuse. You can tell somebody you can't hear what she's saying.
Every time she talks to me, I go to move her on my right side so I can't hear her.
I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm naturally acting like that's the first time I heard this story, but I did know that. I'm happy you're getting better. It's funny, jewelry, everyone needs to buy it every year no matter what. You get the little uptick in inflation. Prices are going up. That's just because of it. And you still get the sale, man. So kudos to you and BK for doing what you do. it's fun. It's fun. But
we're having fun doing it.
So today's episode, it's kind of a reconnecting episode, kind of a weird episode, not from a standpoint of, having someone on that you all might know, but we're connecting with a few buddies of ours from the past. And Sez and Sully, Ryan Sullivan, actually plays on a Corn Ferry Tour. Really legitimate golfer, absolute smoke. And Sez is with Acushnet. And the whole point of it was they had a hell of a lot of stories to tell, man. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I decided that this episode is just called Stories.
Stories from Story.
Well, we already had that.
We already had that. But, yeah, I mean, we've got some cool stories from Michael Jordan to Donald J. Trump. That... You guys are going to love to hear that. But I think, too, man, whenever people start listening, Sully, to tell you guys how hard the game of golf is and talk about chasing birdies, he legitimately did that in 2024 on Monday qualifiers for the PGA Tour. Everybody asked, well, why aren't you playing? Or why didn't you try? So this is going to answer everyone's questions, all right? Sully shot 64 under par cumulative for all the Monday qualifiers this year, and he did not qualify for one PGA Tour event. So for all you people that, my buddy's really good, my buddy's awesome at golf. No, bud, no. He shot 64 under. Your buddy hasn't shot 64 under in his life, let alone in a year. So, but again, it's to tell you how hard it really is out there, and he is the definition of chasing birdies. So, yeah. Without further ado, I think that we should roll it on over to Sez and Sully and let them tell us a little bit about what's been shaken down in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Let's go. You guys enjoy this one. All right, you guys tuning in today. We're joined by two long-lost friends of ours, Pep and I. Kyle, who's working with Acushnet companies right now, Titleist FootJoy for you people out there that don't know the lingo. And our boy Sully, Ryan Sullivan, who, played a couple PGA events, a couple U.S. Opens under his belt. But we just felt like we hadn't connected with these guys in quite some time. And today, with it being around the Christmas holiday season and New Year, I just wanted to rekindle this relationship with you boys and get you on the pod. So come on with it.
Let's go.
Love it, man.
I know.
Thanks
this is the first time.
Yeah,
no. This is a weird... This would be a great foursome, actually, on the golf course. I feel like, I was going to say threesome, but foursome. That'd be a great one. Be a great one.
So, boys, it's good to see you. I was just talking to Eric Childers this morning, actually, and I said, I need some extra material here, and he didn't really give me much because he said none of it's appropriate for the podcast. So, naturally, he didn't give me anything other than asking you what your Tinder handicap is. Do you want to give me a plus minus on that or what?
I mean, Sully's for sure like a +9. I might be tickling the scratch area, but Sully's definitely a +8.
I'm like Scotty Scheffler at the Hero Challenge.
Oh yeah, you just won.
Well, that was thrown out. He said +9, so
yeah,
that's very fair.
With little to no wind.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, man. So I'm happy you guys have handicaps outside of golf. One of you looks like a Detroit Lions fan.
Oh yeah.
You're still the fan of the Detroit Lions.
Buddy, I was there through thick and thin, man. I started with the 0-16 season. I lived in Detroit. When I worked for Nike back about 15, 16 years ago, I was in Detroit for a few years and then spent another 5 years in Grand Rapids. And yeah, man, adopted them. So I was with them before it was cool to be with them. And now like everybody obviously is jumping on the bandwagon, but it's fun, man. It's fun to have a team that's in the playoffs back-to-back years and has a chance to win it all.
So you mentioned Nike, though. Our buddy Steve Peering, who's a mutual friend of ours.
Oh, yeah.
He told us he was the CEO of Nike whenever he was there. Is that like partially true or what?
Like I think I told you, Pep, I think like I love Peering to death, but I think, 90% of his stories are a little fabricated. There's definitely some truth in all of them, but as we know, like he gets a little bit excited, and the story like just grows and grows every year.
Well, Bash plays every year with him at the 2-man in Pronghorn, which that's actually changing this year because Bash. He won't say it, but he just can't take it anymore.
I can't.
There's just a letdown. It's every year it's a letdown, dude. Peering always tells us how good he's playing going into the event, but he's not good enough to control that game yet. And, like, so he's playing great. It's the best golf I've ever played. And he gets there and makes like 3 pars and 18 holes per bash.
Well, and now he's blaming it on me, you know, because he tells me how well he's playing outside of me as his partner, you know. So he thinks that the demise of his games stems from me, which that might be true, but you know, Peering has definitely been I mean, you just gotta laugh sometimes, man.
Right?
You know, you just gotta laugh.
Hey, there may or may not have been an ask for me to come out this year. So I don't know if y'all had a divorce yet, Bash, but he may have said, like, hey, Says, can you make it to Pronghorn in September? And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I don't know if that's, you know, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that may or may not have been talked about last week.
Ryan, it looks like you and I are partners. This looks like it's all shaping into what we want.
I'll tell you what,
hey, live. This is all live. Look at that. Love that.
Yeah, we gotta have a chat because you know it's if he wants to mutually part ways, I would do it. It wouldn't be the same. It would not be the same. I can tell you that. But
boy, that was pretty easy. Bash was kind of ready for this. He's like, I dropped him.
I think he was looking for a way out, and he got one, and you confirmed it, so we're good now.
I think he just wants to play better, and I don't think he, you know, does that with me. But
with Sully's U.S. Open appearances, you might want to be taking him, bud, not me.
Well, I don't know, Sully. I mean, you know, it sounds like you had some pretty good runs in that era.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think I'm still healthy and playing good golf right now. I think as you get older, you try to play the numbers game and look at certain instances like Philly Mick, right? Like that cat wins the PGA at 50 or 51, and, you know, he's no exact fitness model himself. So if you're doing the right things, I don't see why you can't go out. You know, Bernhard Langer, that guy's in his 60s, and he's like the Tiger Woods of the Champions Tour. I actually had a conversation with my buddy Tim O'Neill last night, who won recently on the Champions Tour, and he told me that Bernhard hits a 7-iron like 150 yards. Like, he's not that short off the tee, but his irons are unbelievably short. But the thing that separates him, right, is he can get it in the hole, and his irons are straight. And he's accurate. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what club you're hitting. But I think, you know, not to get off topic, but nowadays you hear a lot about distance and hitting the ball as far as you could possibly hit it. But there's definitely something to be said about guys like Bernhard and the Brendan Todds of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think Ryan falls into that. He doesn't hit it a long way, but he knows where he's going.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit it long enough, but yeah, I don't hit it. I'm not a long hitter, but I'm not necessarily a short knocker either.
Bernhard Langer, I mean, that guy defines time.
Crazy.
I mean, I went through a similar injury, not the Achilles, got hurt playing wiffle ball, snapped my ankle, and
hate to see it.
And I actually just, I mean, my demise this year, boys, has been a Q-tip and a wiffle ball bat. I just blew my eardrum out with a Q-tip last week, so.
Stop it. Oh, my God, Pep.
Yeah, so we're falling apart over here, boys. I'm ready for 2025. But, I mean, Sully, you just got done with second round of
second stage.
Tour, you know, Q school, and you had 22 birdies and 72 holes. I mean, I haven't made 22 birdies in a year. So that's exciting. You're obviously playing good golf, and I guess for some of the listeners, how do you trying to make it is so much patience, right? Because you're obviously playing well, but you're also probably making some stupid mistakes that you probably don't make, right? And it's just like, how do you mentally hold that together?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll give you a little context. Like this year, I played maybe 16 tour Mondays, right? And I was 64 under par. So I'm averaging more than 4 under a round. And I didn't get into a single one. I missed 9 or 10 by 1 or 2 shots. So,
Wait a minute.
I mean,
you shot 64 cumulative under par and never got into one PGA Tour
not
event this
one.
year.
I think it's
Crazy,
the first
man.
time in my career that I've like not qualified for a tour event. And the weird thing is like I felt like I played my most consistent golf this year.
That's insane to me.
I switched to the lab putter last year, and that's been a great transition for me, making that change because, you know, if you're missing putts inside of 6-8 feet more than you should, there's no making up for that. And so that's been a great addition to my bag. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to showcase that in an actual tour event this year because I was just the bubble boy. I was the poster child for bubble boy. I should start a podcast actually called the Bubble Boy Podcast and just talk about
or Two Guys, One Cup.
Yeah. But you know, it's a very, I recently went on a podcast and the guy was congratulating me. The host was saying, you know, congrats on a great year. And it's a weird feeling to hear that because usually when you think of like success, you can kind of have a little bit of a direct correlation to compensation. But when your bank account goes the other way and you feel like your golf game is getting better, it's just a very weird emotion. And, you know, back to your point of staying patient, I think that you have to really cliche trust the process and know that the work that you're doing is going to parlay success, you know, maybe not immediately, but it's just like math, right, guys? Like if you are consistently knocking on the door, it's very likely that you'll bust that door down sooner than later.
Yeah.
What's 64 under, dude?
Sully, not to go like host mode here, but I'm just curious, like,
Let's go host mode.
What's the mentality like though on a Monday versus like a 4-day Q school that you just got done doing? Like, I mean, obviously you're just going to you're trying to just rip birdies, right? You know, you got to shoot 64, 65, but like, how does that mindset? It's got to be just gnarly.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Sez, because in a Monday, right? Like, let's just say for simplistic purposes, we have 150 guys in the field and there's only 4 spots allocated. You know that you're going to have to put up a pretty low score on the board, right? Like assuming the golf course is relatively benign, you're going to have to shoot 6 or 7 under par. So if you get off to a slow start and you're even through 6 holes, you really have to turn the jets on. Otherwise you're burning daylight. And whereas in a 4-round tournament, you might not be, too bad a shape being even par through 6 or 7 holes because you got a ton of golf left to play. So I actually, I'm fully capable of going out and shooting 9 under par, but I would prefer to have a 4-round tournament where I can, not be out of it after shooting a 3 under par, right? So Q school for me is actually, I don't mind it in terms of the structure, but it obviously sucks when you have to go out and perform that week, and you could play great golf all year long. And all of a sudden you have like one bad round or I kind of had a middling week. I shot 1 under every single day. I think I shot even the last day, but I missed by 5. The number to get out was 8. And I was telling the guys before you got on, it was 32 degrees 3 out of the 4 days. You can't hardly feel your hands. I felt like an arthritic geriatric out there trying to play for my tour card. And, you can't, you can make excuses, but it's not going to do anything. Like, it is what it is. Everybody had to deal with it. And kudos to the guys, I guess 17 guys that shot 8 under or better. That's solid playing on a 7,600-yard golf course, and the greens are rolling like, what did Gary McCord say? Bikini wax on a swimsuit. It's tough.
Something on a gold too.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's the jolly trot, man. It sounds like you were doing a jolly trot a lot this year, man. That's the trot, in between the holes when you're walking to your ball, you're under par. You're trying not to think about it, but you're feeling really good, and you're just kind of, grooving and moving a little bit. And I think, that's what separates so many of the, I don't want to say amateur, the top echelon of amateur golfers to these pros, and then specifically from just regular golfers to upper echelon amateur golfers, is the fact that people don't know how to fucking control that sometimes, Next thing you know, you get in a situation, you're 4 or 5 under par, you're fucking feeling good, you're jolly, right?
Yeah, but you're trying not to make a mistake.
And then
Right.
the bogey happens, and then
It's the old
then it like
the
shatters.
FUAB, right? Like it's all situational. There's levels to it. There's guys that are, let's say, scratch golfers, and they're 2 or 3 under par, and they're trying not to fuck up. Versus
Right.
like let's push the needle and get it to 4, 5, 6
Pedal to
under
the metal,
par.
boys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So again, back to the point of like Kyle asking what the difference is when somebody back home that's supporting me sees my scorecard, right? And they see I make let's just say I hypothetically make a late double bogey on a par 5. That's a risky par 5. And they're like, well, why didn't you lay up? It was like, well, listen here, hobnob. If I lay up and make birdie, I'm going to miss by 1. It doesn't do me any good, right? If I need that situational eagle, I have to do the 10 cup and go for it in 2. Otherwise, I'm trunk slamming. It doesn't make a difference if I shoot 2 under par or 5 under par. When you need 6 under par, that's what you need. And there's a lot of these idiosyncrasies and subtle nuances to Monday qualifying versus 4-day tournament that people don't understand. It's a very weird dynamic when you shoot 5 under par, bogey free, and you trunk slam and you drive to the next town and you just cost yourself $1,500. And it's like, man, I feel like a loser because I didn't get one of those 4 spots. But at the same time, I'm playing some really good golf and I just need that break, right? And I've had, I don't know, 50 starts maybe on the Corn Ferry web.com. So I've had my opportunities, but I didn't have my lab like snake killing broom putter in the past, which I would have loved to have had because I may have been on, the Live or the PGA Tour by now. And
What, Scotty Cameron didn't make one for you, huh?
no,
Scott Childers.
Right. I know a guy.
Missed opportunity by Childers, but we were just with, and this question was asked. We were sitting at a round table at Old Hickory, and I never really thought of it, but what is the worst golf course you've ever played? And there were 2 responses that were hilarious at the table. One was from Tyler Reeve. He said, "I don't play bad golf courses," because he's a golf course snob. He is. And John Daly said, anything that the USGA, anywhere the USGA puts a tournament on is the worst golf course.
Well, I know he hates Pinehurst number 2.
Oh, that 17, where he just smashes it across the green. So for you guys, are there any golf courses that you're just like, this is fucking dumb?
My lady just turned off the lights in the whole house. That's nice.
Nice. I mean, I'm always like, I don't know about like you guys, but I feel like I always kind of rate, this is going to sound maybe shallow, but I always like to rate the golf course by like greens and green speed first. I think I start at the greens, work my way back kind of thing. I mean, layout obviously is important, but for me, if I'm playing a golf course and it might be, I play some like amateur stuff, some higher level amateur stuff across kind of the Midwest. And if I'm playing a mid-am qualifier and you go out there and the greens are rolling 7.5, I've had that before where they're rolling 7.5, and you're just ripping putts all day and it's not what it should be. Like, to me, that's going to be in the back of my mind. Like, I don't like this golf course. And it's nothing to do maybe with the layout, but that's the way I've always kind of looked at them. But I don't know about you, Sully, but I'm sure like you guys are always playing pristine, like 11s, I'm sure, on the green wise, but I'm always ranking kind of greens first is how I look at it. But
yeah, I would rather play a golf course that's a little rough around the edges that has good greens than vice versa, where a golf course is like nice, but then the greens suck. So I agree with you in that point in terms of looking
basically
at greens.
Yakagani. You would love Yakagani. The greens are good. Everything else is meh. So
That's a good point. And I would agree with you. I think Pep would too. Like,
yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily directly agree with JD in terms of like just because it's a USGA, but I think that's something I do find similar to what he's probably getting at is that he doesn't think the USGA sets golf courses up fair for their championships. And I tend to dislike courses that punish you unfairly for like good shots. And I've played golf courses like Firewheel. Firewheel is a course near Dallas, Texas that we've played for Q School. And they've got holes out there where like you could hit a shot that's really not that bad. And then you find yourself out of bounds. And it's like, all right, this isn't fun. Like this is just not this is not how golf is meant to be played. And this is coming from a professional standpoint. So you can imagine what a handicap golfer would feel like if they're out there and they're going through a dozen golf balls by the front nine.
Sully, I have a question for you. Donald J. Trump was just named president a few weeks ago, and I understand that you've caddied in his group or caddied for him.
No, I played with him.
Played with him.
I was his partner.
Oh, you were.
I'd appreciate it if you never disrespect me like that.
But I might give some bad intel. Might be on me.
I mean, but don't get mad at me. All right.
That was just secondhand information.
So you've played with Donald Trump, okay? Fill me in on his putting and what that round was like, because I think it's hysterical when he's playing golf. Just the pants so far up, everything.
Yeah. So I'll just give you the full scoopy real quick. I was down in West Palm Beach last year during the week of the PGA tournament at PGA National, and my buddy Marcus Bird was playing in the event, and he missed the cut. So he reached out to me on Friday and asked if I was in town still, and I told him I was. And he goes, well, let's go run it at Trump International, right, near Mar-a-Lago. I was like, sick, because I've played the one in Jupiter. I love that course next to Bears. And so we had a tee time for, let's say, 9 a.m. So, I mean, I treat this shit serious. I get out there at 8 a.m., I'm warming up. I'm taking it very serious. I want to play good. And Kyle Berkshire, the world number one long driver, is a guy that I've been around a little bit, and he was going to play with us as well because him and Marcus are both from Baltimore, right? So they've played together in the past. So Kyle and I are warming up on the range, and funny little side story. While we're waiting on Marcus, Kyle's launching 8-irons into the stratosphere, and I've got binoculars looking up, and he's asking me if I think he should chase pro golf. And I'm like, I don't know how to let him down nicely other than just say, look, you're making $1 million plus a year with Cobra and all the stuff. Like, stick to doing what you do best, right? Because
stay in your lane, bud.
You're not gonna beat me, and you're definitely not gonna beat Scotty Scheffler in a 72-hole golf tournament, But anyways, so Marcus may or may not have had a little bit of too many cervezas on Friday night, so he was slow getting out to the course on Saturday morning. And apparently, before Marcus ended up finally getting out there, Trump and his guys showed up on the front slab, and they got wind that Kyle was on property. And Trump loves watching Kyle blast it, 400 plus. So he sent a couple guys to the back to bring us to the front. And, obviously with Secret Service, well, I mean, actually maybe too soon, but with the Secret Service he had at the time, they were able to pull up my file and see I didn't have any outstanding warrants and I was a pro golfer. And so when I met him, he asked me, Sully.
Wait a minute, real quick, time out. So they actually
they knew
you.
They
searched
me. Yeah,
crazy.
if you're on the property, they're gonna vet you. They're gonna know who's around, obviously, right?
I wish they would have pulled your Tinder profile and be like, "Is this you?"
This guy, he's definitely playing with Trump today.
Yeah, keep him away from my Ivanka. Anyway, so I went up and shook his hand, and it was a pretty surreal feeling, because I've met a lot of big time people like Kyle Szczesniak and so forth, and I've been able to handle it pretty well. And he said, "All right, you're the pro. Hit me an 8-iron." So I pulled out my 8-iron, I striped it dead straight, and then he said, "Hit me a driver." I striped driver dead straight, and he goes, "Fuck Kyle, I got Sully." And I'm like, holy crap! This is not what I was expecting. So now me and Uncle Donnie and one other guy are playing against Kyle Berkshire and 3 guys. And we just mentioned earlier with my buddy McGowan and first tee jitters at US Open, there's levels to this. So I've been nervous, but this is a different kind of nervous when you are being watched by a very historical figure. It's a cool, different feeling. And I ended up bogeying my first hole, and President Trump parred it. And he ribbed me going to the next tee. He said, "Sully, I thought you were the pro." And so I go and I birdie 7 of the next 11 and kind of let him know what's up. And by the end of the day, I think I shot 67, and he signed my card 45, 47, right? He was manifesting his next win.
No. When was
Yes.
this?
And my this was last March, and I had the scorecard, and I left it in my rental car. In the
Oh no! You have that? Dude,
center.
you sent me a photo of that. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I have a photo of it, but the card is MIA. And so we had lunch after, and it was a really, it was a presidential table, round table, had a
Where
really
you
good.
belong.
Yeah, exactly. And Berkshire was really complimentary. He said that he's played a lot of golf with DeChambeau, and he's never seen Bryson hit his irons as well as I did that day, which was a nice, thing to hear, and especially in front of Trump. And as you guys know, Trump really likes playing with good golfers and being around pretty women. So I think that round of golf kind of spurred on more interactions. So I ended up getting an invite to Mar-a-Lago. I had dinner with him there. I had another lunch with Angelina Jolie's dad. And I met some really prolific people in the political realm. And then I ended up getting flown up to New York City and going and meeting Greg Norman at the live event at Bedminster with the hopes of maybe getting a live start. Like when we were at dinner at Mar-a-Lago, Trump asked me if he were to, make it happen, if I would go. And I looked him right in the eye and I said, I will convert to Islam. You just show me where to sign.
Only Sully could infiltrate the president and all the people that he's surrounded by. It's amazing. I love
that is. I mean, I can't believe you lost the card.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest regrets.
But so what happened? So the live
right around the time that I met Greg out there at Bedminster, it was when John Rahm went and kind of made the contractual agreement. So when you've got the world number 1 or 2 switching over, it becomes a bit of a closed shop, right? I was really thankful that I got in front of Greg and had a conversation with him and got my face to the name and all that jazz. But at the same time, the lefties were suing the shit out of Trump, and it was not good timing because I couldn't exactly call him up and be like, hey, remember that whole live conversation? So, I'm still hopeful.
Do you still communicate with him?
So I had his secretary's email, and I would reach out to her and then coordinate that way. And I also have his best friend's cell phone number and a very prominent CEO of a news station's information. So with those contacts, that's kind of how I quote unquote infiltrate the president.
We still, Sully, so just so you guys know, little tie-in, after Sully did all this and showed me pictures of the scorecard, he actually sent me a photo that's actually kind of a la what Pep has in the background over his head, a mural of Trump wearing a Tommy Hilfiger sweater, looking all young. It's hilarious.
That was it. That was at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, it was a very it was like a Wedding Crashers mural type thing.
It was amazing. Great. But because of this, I was like, hey, Sully, we got to get Trump a little thank you gift. And luckily, obviously working for FootJoy, was like, Sully, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order a pair of My Joys because I know he wears FootJoy shoes. He wears that all white upper, right, with a black midsole. I'm like, Sully, I'm going to put together a little custom pair. So this, again, back a year ago, whatever it was, we did a American flag on one heel because we can obviously do some customization on the heel. And then on the other heel, we put 45, 47. And so I shipped them down to Sully's guy, put a little thank you card in there for Sully. And I know Sully got them to him. So I've been looking for every time I see Trump on social media, I'm looking down at the shoes, trying to see if there's a little heel American flag or a little number.
Can you imagine if that nut job had picked him off at the golf course and they found him on the fairway and he was wearing those shoes?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
The coolest part of this whole story is that he signed the scorecard a year and a half ago and put 45, 47.
Right?
Yes.
Foreshadow.
He was
Yeah.
manifesting
Manifest,
it.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
He
that.
knew.
So
Yeah,
Kyle, you and Sully, I mean, it sounds like you guys are kind of yucking it up a little bit together.
We go a little ways back. We've had some late nights out.
I got to play
yeah.
with Kyle in St. Louis years back, and I didn't know him at the time, but I was really impressed with his game. And then to find out he works, a job and he's not out grinding like I am every day made it all the more impressive that he's able to just, go out there and ball strike it with the pros. He definitely could have fooled me.
I appreciate that. We had fun. It was like the Missouri Open or whatever it was, kind of the Midwest
St. Louis
Open.
Open. Our guy runs a good tournament there at the Metropolitan. Kurt Rowe, shout out to Kurt Rowe.
Yeah, Kurt is the best. So yeah, it was cool. We met then, and kind of became fast friends. We're both kind of a very similar personality that way, and we've had some other late days, late nights outside the golf course too. So
just a couple flaming heterosexuals that are trying to make it.
I hear you. So, but your golf, I mean, I know you said you played a lot of high-end amateur events, but in your capacity right now with FootJoy and Titleist and whatnot, I mean, what are your main operations or what you're ahead of?
I'm more on the member guest circuit. I feel like that's
member guest.
As you boys know, is there literally anything better as an alpha male that is in his 40s who's competitive as shit? Like, is there anything better? You can't just go pick up a basketball and go run at the Y and at a high level, or go pick up a baseball bat and go play baseball. But I mean, you can compete with one of your boys, drinking, smoking, doing all that stuff, right? Having a stogie, and you're out competing in member guest play. And like, for me, that there's nothing better. Like, that's the one thing I still play in a few, amateur events around town. But, if I want to get my game sharp, it's around like member guest stuff. Cause there's nothing better.
Yeah. The member guest gets circled on the calendar like a year in advance. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we just finished Saturday's round, last 9-hole match. Hey, Bob, you know when this is next year? What's the date?
Right.
Okay.
Save that date.
21st to 24th. All right. Pep, you hear that?
Get the misses locked up. You're telling her this is an annual thing. You sell it once and you're all in. You're in forever. So there's nothing better, man.
But okay, I got a question for you. How do you when you're going back to kind of the whole thing with peering? We played pronghorn now for 5 years, 6 years. But like, at what point? And this is a question for both of you, so you can answer it separately. But at what point do you say, you know what, it might be time to get a new partner? I mean, this isn't a perpetual thing at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So like, at what point? Like, what is it?
Dude, it's hard. I mean, I'll let Sully answer too, but I think, it's just one of those things if you don't, if you go 3, 4, 5 years in a row, not getting it done, and maybe you start having those like weird bickering moments, or those moments of like where someone misses that 4-footer and they give you that look, and you're like, that look means we need a divorce, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know that look, right? Like, somebody hit that foul ball shot, and you're like, you look at that guy like, what the fuck was that, right? So like, that's
right.
If you're getting the same vibes of like tension you have at home with your wife when you're arguing, then it's time to split.
That, like, I'm annoyed by my partner fucking vibe. Like, that's when it's like, all right, man, let's be done with this, right? Like,
see, Bash, I don't think Bash, I haven't gotten. I mean, maybe you have, but I haven't gotten to that point with you yet.
Well, I don't really
that's
get.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it.
Y'all are still in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, we're still in love.
I don't ever bicker with Steve. We don't bicker. I just shake my head. I'm like, what in the hell did you just do?
He put this video collage together from last year. You have to send it to them. It is the funniest thing ever of Steve Peering in the woods, walking to his ball in the woods, hitting it out of the woods, topping it, walking off the tee from his top tee shot. Like, it is the funniest thing you've ever seen.
I know.
I think too, like, it might get to a point too. I don't know if it's, sometimes it gets to a point where like those vibes start going kind of a little bit south or whatever. And then all of a sudden, that person kind of is losing confidence now, because he's thinking like, oh man, my partner, I said I've been playing great, and I just made, 3 straight doubles, and he's looking at me like, what the fuck? And I think that can add a little bit of random pressure for no reason. That's just internal shit that you do to yourself, right? With like a certain partner. But I mean, that's just, I don't know. It's just funny.
No, it is. And I don't take offense. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, if someone was breaking up with me, I'd be like, yo, good luck, man. I hope it works out for you. That's great.
Sure.
But some people might not be like that. What do you think, Sully? I mean, you think you're probably on the same page as Kyle.
I mean, not to veer off topic here, but hearing that last bit kind of made me think of something in that I play a lot of pro-ams, right? So I get a different variety of personalities and egos and all that stuff. And there's nothing more humbling than the game of golf, right? You know, and I'll meet some of these corporate bigwig guys who, you know, if it's a pro-am day, we're all supposed to be on a team. So I'm obviously rooting. We're supposed to have a good time. But there are just some epic douchebags that you'll meet in the corporate world and in life. And it's almost low-key hilarious to watch a guy like that struggle and top a ball or play like shit. And they'll always have an excuse, right? Like it's not them, it's something's wrong with the club or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you're awful. Like you're absolutely terrible. And if you weren't such a douche, like it wouldn't be so funny. But, you know, because you are the way that you are, I just feel like it's karma or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I was playing once with someone like that, and I remember it was a fly. Did you guys see that fly that fucking landed on my ball? It was buzzing around. I should have backed off.
Right.
But yeah.
There's never any accountability, ever.
Yeah, this is the one game you cannot hide from, right? There's nobody you can pass the ball to and say he missed the shot. There's no, I mean, it's all on you, right? That's the best part about it. But these kids, obviously, there's a fly, you know, too. But
and to kind of go back to the Trump thing, I really kudos to Trump because for a guy who's so widely criticized and it's so easy for the other side to hate on him, like he's actually a good golfer. Like I played with him, right? And I was impressed with his ball striking. Like I know Pepe was asking about his short game and putting, and that's something that I gave him a little tip on midway through the round. If you watch his golf swing, right, he's a rounder individual. I don't know if it's Ozempic or what that fluctuates, but his golf swing, he takes it inside, and his short game is very similar. He whips the wedge inside early, and he comes in shallow and from the inside, and so he struggles on that Florida, Bermuda with catching it, you know, heavy or riding up the face. So I gave him a tip on how to be steeper and more on plane. And the first chip he tried from 30 feet, he made it. And he looked at me like, you're my dude. And that was a really cool moment for me. I think kind of like you were talking about with the scorecard being a really memorable piece, like him chipping in after I helped him with it was one of the coolest things I've seen.
That sucks. You lost that scorecard. I would have reached out to the people and be like, hey, I'm going to send you a scorecard. I'm going to fill it out. Can you have them sign it again?
And, you know, I really went through a dark time, Pepe, for that. And so I, you know, for you to bring it up like that right now is still too soon, but I get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Boys, going on that humbling, not to ramble on a story and sidetrack a little bit, but I told Pep about a story back in the day of me caddying for Michael Jordan.
Oh, no shit.
The GOAT. Yeah. So just
maybe that's why I got confused, Sully. So I apologize. I insulted you. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. All right.
Hey, look at that. What a man.
Mistakes happen. We're human.
So
don't let it happen
this
again.
is back, boys. This is back like 2003, right? I had been like the longest tenured caddy at this really great club in St. Louis called Old Warson Country Club. I actually hosted the 71 Ryder Cup. It's iconic. It's a Robert Trent Jones. But anyways, like I had been the longest tenured caddy at the club. I'd been there since I was 11 years old. My parents, which was probably illegal, dropped me off with my brother when I was a little kid. Did my time, did my like 10, 11 years. And now it's 2003. And we all know, everyone at the club knows Michael Jordan's coming on Saturday because he had been in town for some like his, you know, AAU basketball tournament for his son. And we know Michael Jordan's going to be there on Saturday. And I'm on the bag. I get my name on the loop. Like, you're the guy going with them. Figure it out. But as we all know, boys, we've all played with celebrities. Sully's played pro-ams, all this stuff. Like, you get down to the first, you know, to the driving range area and the green. You're trying to like, you know, you're trying to meet everybody, and people are jockeying all over. Caddies are kind of jumping in, like, hey man, let me go with you. Let me be in the group also. And I'm like, hey boys, like, stay the fuck away. Like, this is my day. Yeah, I've done my time. Out. You've been here for a minute.
My moment.
Yeah. So anyways, like shit's going on. You know, guys are trying to get their games ready. He's got like Charles Oakley there. He's got like some St. Louis guys, Ozzie Smith. They're all in this like group of like 16 guys who are going to go play. So finally we get to the first tee. It's me and my buddy Austin gets in the group, right? And so Like I'm gonna ride. We're gonna ride on the back of the carts, just do a little 4 caddy job, give them distances, do all that shit, read their greens, rake their bunkers, right? So get out there. MJ's pretty cool. He's got these like you can imagine like 2003 style. He's got this like black mock turtleneck with like these like mustard yellow pants on. 6'6" dude, and we're going around. We get it's kind of like whatever, feeling everybody out. They got their games going, 1,000 a hole, whatever it is. We get to the 5th hole. And at Old Worston, it's a beautiful hole off a bluff, and I'm with MJ, and we're in the fairway. So this is so classic. So we're down the fairway. I'm like, hey MJ, it's 155 middle, pins back. It's a long green, figure 8 green. I'm like, it's 165 to the back pin, and wind's in the face. Like wind always howls here a little bit. Like you need to get back there. I'm like, it's probably playing 180, and he's looking in the bag. He's like, wait, what'd you say about the wind? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably like a 15, club and a half wind in the face. He's like, me and Tiger? He goes, wind doesn't affect our ball. And I'm like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen MJ swing or his golf game at all, but you talked about Berkshire hitting moon balls. I mean, MJ is super steep. And you can recognize that on the, by the first swing of the day. So he spins the shit out of the ball. So he's like, hey man, he's like, Kyle, give me the 7. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is going to be good. Usually I would walk away and go to the other guys, but I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm like, I'm just hoping he flushes this, right? So he flushes it. Ball's going up, and it's just in the air forever. I think it like hits the front of the green, like, and spins off the front, probably 30 yards short, right? Like he should have hit maybe a knockdown 5 or 4. And I just know he likes shit talking. So I hit him on the fucking arm as I'm walking by, and I said, wind doesn't affect your ball, right? And he gave me that look, right? That divorce look, like, who's this motherfucker? So we go up, whatever, and we get to the next hole, right? And kind of get to the greens or whatever. And again, this is like probably Michael Jordan's mental warfare. And I don't know if it's one, he was trying to just make me look like an asshole because I made him look like an asshole, just me and him. But he has like a 10-foot putt. It's one of those putts. It's a ball out. You could hit it right edge firm. And I'm like, MJ, it's a ball out. If you want to hit it a little harder, hit it on the edge. He blasts it through the break, and he's like, oh man, Kyle can't read the greens. So the rest of the round, when he missed a putt, he would yell out like, Kyle can't read the greens. Kyle can't read the greens. So I don't know if it was mental warfare of like, 1, he wanted to embarrass me, or number 2, he was also like, I got money games with all these guys, and if they hear me saying Kyle can't read the greens, they're not going to want to read from him, and they're not going to trust what he says. So that's just like total MJ. And we've all seen, obviously, like The Last Dance. He loves shit talking, and obviously he'll get back at you too. So it was a fucking classic day, though.
Funny. Yeah, I mean, the guy probably definitely knows how to win the mental battles, right?
For sure. And it's just so funny because, like, 03, like Tiger was on top of the fucking world, right? I mean, nothing did affect Tiger's golf ball in that in those years. But MJ, like, you're the GOAT of the basketball court, but like, bro, like you're about a 4 or 5, like. Yeah, you're spinny. Like the wind will affect your ball. It was just classic, dude. It was such a cool day.
I love it, man. We saw him, man. He played behind Pep and I when we were down at Grove. Him and Dwight Freeney and a couple other cats.
That's sick.
In his entourage. But
dude, we're at Grove having lunch, and I said, Bash, I gotta go to the restroom. So I'm standing in the restroom. I'm standing there, and you just feel like a ghost is coming in. You just felt it.
Isn't that crazy?
And he comes in, bucket hat cigar in his mouth. He's like, what's up, big guy? As I'm holding I look over him, I said, oh, nothing, how about you? And I'm like, that's what we're going to get today? Like, so he
that's what you said?
Stall. So he went in the stall, closed the door. Naturally, I popped my head under the stall. I'm like, hey,
camera out.
Hey, man, let's try that again.
So funny.
You talk about a guy like, he doesn't even have to be that good at golf. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's his presence and the amount of money that he will play for. Mm-hmm. I think people too don't recognize he's not going to play golf for fun. Like he's got to play for something. I had another buddy that played with him at Grove, and he took MJ for $200, and he said, when we're done drinking this tequila, we can square up. Basically, he's saying, listen, I'm going to drink you so hard that you're going to forget that I owe you money. And my buddy said, I just kept drinking and sitting there saying to myself, I'm not drunk. And I only got to it, and he's like, here's your $200 after they finished the bottle of tequila, Sincora.
Oh, that's great.
Well, let me ask you guys, what did you think of Grove? Because right after I played with President Trump, I actually got to play Grove the next week. But I think it's a good spot, and the amenities are top shelf.
I think
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. That like there's some holes that I think they're blowing it up in March and they're redoing it from what I've heard. But I mean, dude, you look at like 15, 16, 17, 18. They call it Jordan Alley for a reason, right? Like 15's a par 3, 150 to the middle of the green. 16's 280 to the middle of the green, par 4. 17's a driver, 5-iron, 6-iron, par 5. And then 18's 495, dead nuts into the wind, par 4.
Yeah.
So it's like, as a gambling course, it's set up for Jordan. It is
correct.
1,000%. But as far as the amenities are concerned and everything else, dude, 15 out of 10. Like 15 out of 10. Take the golf carts. You literally take the golf cart on the fringe. They go 30 miles an hour. The pro shop's sick. The food's very good. The clubhouse is incredible.
The facility is unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
that's why
we pulled up the first day. All those guys, and we pull up the first day. What kind of balls you use? Titleist.
Yeah.
Well, Pro V1 or Pro V1X. Pro V1. All right, here's your bag of balls, and it's just like that. Touch to an experience is incredible.
Yeah, and everything he said, I mean, he kind of just answered the question by himself there, so we'll let him slide on that.
And not to mention who you see and who's there.
Which he loves.
That's so cool.
But I was a little I thought the pro shop was really good, but the shoe thing kind of got me thrown off. Probably because I was thinking about it as like it's going to have a wall of just
like
shoes.
His closet type stuff.
Yeah, and you're just going to be able to see shoes that you can't see anywhere else or whatever, you know? And that wasn't the case, but I mean, yeah, because you hear guys talk and they're like, you know, it's whatever, it's blah, blah, blah. But no, it's not just whatever. It's a phenomenal, like if someone invites me back, because that's the only way I'm getting on again, I mean, my answer is going to be when. Yes.
Yeah. And the vibe is not stuffy at all, you know, like you get the amenities and everything that you would get at another top shelf facility, but you don't have that walking on eggshells feel.
How do you two handle stuffiness at clubs?
I mean, I deal with it every day because I have to go into some of these clubs for work, obviously. I'm way more of a vibe like you guys are talking about. Whisper Rock, for example, out in Scottsdale. I mean, what a hang that place is. It's just like so chill, untucked polos, just like, you know, you got tour pros you're hitting next to freaking whoever, right? I mean, I like vibes like that. Personally, I deal with the stuffy clubs. You just kind of have to, but I way more prefer like the modern, like these new clubs like you guys are talking about, like Grove and Whisper Rock, places like that, personally. And I'm sure Sully's the same, I assume.
Yeah, I got fortunate this year to go out to Discovery Properties a little bit, where Melman owns those, and like they've got the one at Gaza Ranch in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, and then there's one I went to in the Dominican Republic called Playa Grande, where Ricky Fowler has a house. And I seriously think that blew Pebble Beach out of the water. I mean, that place was phenomenal. I was really surprised on the northern coast of the DR. I had no idea that there was a place that existed like that in the Dominican.
I think Discovery Properties are setting a new standard. I mean,
100%.
The vibe that it brings, the plushness. I mean, you look at these comfort stations, dude.
Comfort stations are right.
You could pull a stool up and just chill there all day. Y'all, I need the TV.
I literally bumped into Kim Kardashian at the one in Gaza Ranch. Like I turned around and her daughter Northwest were right there, and I was like, you know, you never know you're gonna meet at the Discovery Properties. And they went back to their Cybertruck. They were like ransacking that comfort station and then taking off. You know, it's just cool because
I thought that was the One Direction you were talking about.
There's so many A-listers and former pro athletes and country musicians that are hanging out at the Coeur d'Alene one, that it really wasn't that stuffy because everybody kind of feels like, hey, like you already made it if you're out here, so there's no need to like one up anybody, you know?
I was a troubadour about a year and a half ago, warming up on the range with Thomas Archer and Ray Fulcher, who are big songwriters, and my back's to where people are coming on. It's a Tuesday afternoon, 4:00. We're going to tee off, and I hear this guy yo, Ray. I'm like, that sounds familiar, that voice. And here it was Wallen, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I don't get shocked by anybody, but like,
yes, you do
right now. And so, he's talking to Ray, and he's like, you want to play a little action today? And Ray's like, Pep, what do you think? I said, I'll take it, whatever you want. So they go off. We get to 14, and they're at the comfort station of Troubadour. Him and his buddies. Actually, you might know Will Sellers.
Name sounds familiar. Okay.
With JT. They're all playing, so we all joined up. Dude, we played till 9 p.m., and then we drank till 1 a.m. with this dude, and he couldn't have been any cooler and nicer to everyone, which obviously when you're in a golf club where there's nobody at, they're going to be themselves, right? So we absolutely tied one on that night. It was.
I got a buddy who's a member at Troubadour, and he said kind of along those lines. He said he had a club championship match against like one of the country stars. I don't know if it was Morgan Wallen or who, but he said he showed up. He's like buttoned up. He's kind of a new member at the time. He's wearing his polo and tucked into his shorts, whatever. He said homeboy pulls up with his like golden retriever. He's wearing like his high school basketball jersey and basketball shorts, and they go out. And he's like, "Hey, let's have a match." I'm like, "Holy shit, that's what a vibe that is, right? Like, just do whatever you want. Have your dog running around."
I mean, Wallen had this speaker that was as big as a golf cart. It was in the back, and this music was so loud. I don't even know how he sat in the cart, and it was just rap the whole way around, blaring. And like you said, it's just do what you want, right? Just respect the golf course and do what you want.
Right. It's the best.
There was actually a guy in the Dominican whose job is director of vibes, super cool guy. And he had the same setup you were describing Morgan Wallen having with the speaker in the cart, and he had like the Dominican flags hanging out the back. And so like if he knew we all were coming out there and we were big country fans, he would have like country music blaring from 3 fairways away. Like they just do that little attention to detail really well, and make sure that everyone out there feels like, they're being tailored to.
Yeah, it's smart. It's definitely a vibe, man. And yeah, that's my feeling too. I mean, I can't deal with the stuffiness because I don't like the egotisticalness that comes with it. You know what I mean? I just want to play golf. At the end of the day, I want to play golf. I want to have a good time. I definitely respect the course. Certainly like playing nice courses, but I don't care, what
a lot of these clubs,
they're
like one rule that they'll have is don't be an asshole, right?
That's
like
it.
As long as you're not an asshole, you're not going to get kicked out. Like that's the only rule. Just respect the course, be chill, and you'll fit in fine. That's how it is at Old Mo in Tampa.
I love Old Mo.
It's a great course. Great track. What about in the Midwest, Kyle? What do you oversee?
So I oversee just kind of across Missouri, Illinois. Nothing too crazy here. I've got some top 100 courses, but nothing like y'all have kind of out north, in the northeast and down south and all that. But no, there's some good tracks here for sure. It's just it's so humid and hot here that you just can't get golf courses maybe the way they should be. Like I know, with Peering and some of those guys, we always talk about golf up in Pittsburgh. I think that's like the perfect climate. Like Michigan, when I lived there, some of the best golf courses ever because you could always get those courses. They were always pure with bent grass. And you could always get greens rolling quick. Little different here across the Midwest just because we get so hot and humid that it's like there's a month window where they can kind of like really get them down and fast. But no, it's I'm in a good spot for sure. It's just I don't have some of the clout clubs that y'all are talking about really.
I got a buddy up at Rich Harvest Farms. How's that place?
So I've not been up there yet.
I hear it's
I've not been
freaking awesome from multiple people.
Yeah, there's some great golf across that north part of the Midwest. Michigan, Wisconsin, even like over into Nebraska, Minnesota. It's plush up there, man.
We had Danny Woodhead on the podcast a while back, and he's out in Nebraska, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But when
Nebraska's in the middle of nowhere.
It is. But when you start peeling back the layers a little bit, you realize that like there's some deep what is it? Is it Bismarck or
Bismarck?
No, it's something like that where you got to take a helicopter to get to it. I don't know.
There's sand hills up there, isn't it?
Yeah. I forget the name of it. I want to say Dismal or Bismal or something like that. Well, it doesn't matter, obviously, because no one knows of it. But
All good.
I actually played a golf course this summer in Iowa called the Harvester. And if Butler National and Oakmont had a baby, that would be this golf course. It's the love child of the two. It was incredible.
Butler National is so hard.
Butler's sick. Yeah, it's very hard.
So
Wish they had a better logo, but that golf course is amazing.
Yeah, all men's club.
One thing to pivot off of this golf talk real quick is the fact that coming into this football playoff season with college, it's shaping to be a pretty exciting weekend. I mean, you got some games going off. You got this new structure in place. I think it's great for the game.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy too that we've gone so long seeing teams going undefeated or you can only have one loss. This year, I don't know if it's like the parity just because of like the transfer portal and stuff, but it's crazy to see Alabama, Georgia, and these guys losing 2-3 games. It's so out of the norm. But it's fun because I feel like it needs to be more like that, right? It's always been the same 3-4 teams every year, and they're always arguing who's going to get in and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for this little playoff. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike the PGA Tour, it seems like they're trying to grow the game of football for college. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's no gambling though.
Sure about that?
Yeah. What would football be without gambling? I mean, really.
I just don't like how every pregame show is brought to you by BetUS or DraftKings. Yet, if you gamble on your team, you're suspended.
I get a kick out of the guys that are giving their pick of the day before the game goes off. Like these analysts.
Right.
My pick of the day is this guy over 75.5 yards, and here's why. I would love to see what their percentage is on hitting that shit and versus not, because
that's always what's so funny about like the sports media that like you can be Colin Cowherd or whoever and make these loud statements about this, that, and the other and just be so loud and annoying, but those guys they're never held accountable, right? You can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
you can be as loud as you want. You don't know if the Chiefs are going to win it all this year, but you can just go out and say all that shit, and it's just kind of funny because they're never ever held accountable for what they say, right? Like they never go back and say you were wrong about this or that. It's so funny.
I was sweating for the guy.
My wife, she lets me know, but
I was sweating for the cat that dumped $3 million on the Eagles when they played Carolina.
Dude, did he win that?
Lost. Dude, he should have lost. That guy, that Leggett kid, dropped a wide open touchdown with like 10 seconds to go. I mean, he literally had no one around him and just dropped it. It's almost like, was that fixed? You always wonder. Sometimes I'm like, is this shit fixed? Like,
I know
these referees. Sometimes it feels like the WWF, where you're just like, you can't make this shit up.
Right.
And I get it. It's like great TV, right? When the Chiefs are winning every game by a phantom call or Doinkin winning off the upright.
That's what happened.
It's just like sometimes you're just like, how the hell does this happen?
I know. It's crazy, but
insane.
That's the world we live in, and that's what it is. Especially if you have vested interests, you got to live and die by the calls, the bullshit, and whatnot. But
right, are we going to ever land this plane on the PGA Tour stuff? Sully, do you have any intel on this? I mean, I got a buddy who works down at the tour, and I'm just like, I always ask him, like, are they going to like land this plane with the live stuff
with
and
the
all this
live
other shit going on? Like, it's just like, I don't know. It just seems so still in just like random flux, like
just in constant litigation and not being able to. I think the thing with that is Gary Player was talking about it, and that in his opinion, the PGA Tour dropped the ball early on by pushing back so hard, because if they had played ball with them a little bit, it would have made things way smoother, right? So now you got a entity like the Live, the Saudis, PIF, or whatever it is, that have way more money, and in the end, they're probably going to win. It's like the bigger fish is going to survive that financial battle. So who knows? But I think the big thing here is the spectators want to see the best players play against each other on the same stage, and it's unfortunate that Scotty Scheffler and the John Rahms are not squaring up while they're both in their prime.
Yeah.
And it just hurts it seems like the overall mood right now from a viewership standpoint is it's not as exciting as it has been in the past, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
for sure. So maybe next time we get on here, we'll have a little answer to that.
Yeah, maybe.
If you see me next time with a turban on and Titleist logo on the side, that tells you everything you need to know. Ryan Pepe.
Sully made it to live.
You did
Let's
it.
go.
I love it.
Well, boys, it was a blast, man. I know we're
thanks for
cutting
having
it
us on.
close here on the time, but glad we were able to rekindle our relationship, our long lost relationship.
Long and lost. Yep.
Kind of just yuck it up here a little bit. It was fun.
I love it.
Absolutely.
We got to do it again.
Yeah,
we'll
we
pick
appreciate
up
you
where we
boys.
left off for sure.
And I hope to see you boys out in Oregon. I'll see Sully before that, but I hope to see you boys out in Oregon. Maybe. I might have not have gotten an invite. I know Bash didn't know this, but I may or may not have gotten an invite.
Now I know.
It's gonna be like, this is awkward.
Well, I was supposed to have lunch with Steve. Actually, he set it up and then he canceled. But that's to be expected in some case. I understand he's a busy guy, so that's not a knock. But the chance of that happening was probably under 50%.
He's busy designing shirts with tunas and a clown riding a tuna on a shirt.
But we'll have that discussion.
Do you guys make it to the PGA show at all, or down in Orlando? Not really.
I'll see you down there, Sully. I'll see you down there, Sully.
Yeah, I know Kyle does. That's
maybe we can shut down. We can shut down that little dance place we went to last year, like we did.
yeah.
Yeah. Put it on
Fine
TikTok.
establishment.
Oh, it was.
All right, boys. Well, with further ado, we'll catch you on the flip side.
All right, boys. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Always good.
Boys, thank you for coming on, telling some stories. I love the Donald Trump story because DJT saw him hitting some balls on the range and said, "That's my guy," and he rattled off 7 birdies in like 11 holes.
A little nervy there, but yeah, he was.
But man, to lose that scorecard.
I know. That's like the most.
We're going to post that so that everybody can see it because he only has a photo of it. But to lose that scorecard, and the best part of that story is, it was a year and a half ago, and he put 45 and 47. He knew.
Yeah. That's wild, but yeah, that's kind of getting back to what you said there in the beginning. You listen to somebody who actually has the game and the capabilities to take it to that level, man, and it just shows you how tough it is. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the game, people. So as amateur golfers, we need to embrace it and keep chasing. That's all. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Every day.
Chase.
Every day.
And I'll tell you what I've been chasing, Bud, is the steak pizziola that you've put me on.
Oh, God.
Up at Nemacolin. So make sure you go on to nemacolin.com, check it out. The new restaurant, Gusto, which we had our little friend dinner.
We did. Yeah.
Wow, man. I ate there 2 nights and 3 out of 3. So it's amazing. So they're doing a great job. The food's amazing. Man, the lights, it makes you feel like you're a kid again. The Hardee's Village, where Santa's cruising around a little bit. So make sure you go to nemacolin.com, check them out, book your reservation. Tell them the boy sent you. They might give you a free bubble bath or something.
A free pillow. Yeah, dude, I agree with you. It's phenomenal. So it was good. It was good to hang out
with the simulators. For the first
you did?
time. Yeah.
How'd that go?
Probably out of the first 8 wedge shots I hit, 3 of them were hosel rockets, right up Lee Jansen's ass. But you know what? I'm excited. I'll
tell you what I'm excited about. These college football playoffs that are about to kick off, boys.
And I hear
this week
might be there's town for one.
Yeah, there's a good possibility there that I'm gonna be able to go catch that night game Saturday night, Ohio State against Tennessee.
Our boys.
Yeah, the boys. So I'm kind of torn in between who I'm gonna actually cheer for in this capacity, but at the end of the day, I'll probably have some sliver of red on. But that doesn't mean, I'm an underdog better. I like betting underdogs. Tennessee's an 8.5 point underdog at this juncture.
Really, at this point?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But shaping up to be a nice.
There.
It's gonna
bonkers.
It's gonna be insane.
Late December in Columbus, Ohio. Is it the first playoff game of the whole playoffs?
No, because they start at noon on Saturday. 12-3-8, but it's the first nightcap game of the playoffs.
It's Columbus, Ohio is gonna be rocking, boys.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So,
what's your take on the old Pittsburgh Steelers this past weekend against the Eagles?
Not kind of what expected. What would anyone expect that to be? I mean, you think they're gonna go in there and actually surprise the world and win? I mean, they had opportunity to keep it close there. I mean, especially before that fumble, but no. I mean, you have 2 possessions the second half. Your defense can't get off the field.
Dude, how about in the fourth quarter? 11-minute drive they had at the end.
Tough game. There's no doubt about it. Philadelphia's loaded, but I certainly thought that there might have been a closer game. And then this weekend they got the Ravens on Netflix. Not on Netflix, on Fox. Sorry, Christmas is on Netflix. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. So we'll see what happens.
Well, with that, I'm excited for the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. The Steelers, they're in, so that's the bright side. And Tomlin's got another winning season. So, with 2025 on the heels here, bud, what are you looking forward to 2025, or what's a goal of yours that you're chasing?
I don't know. People asked me that recently. What do you want for Christmas? All this jazz. And I just say a simple one-word answer: peace. That's it. I don't care in what capacity that comes. I just want more peace. I was reading, and it's crazy that I read this because I've felt this. I've felt this for years. That in the morning early hours, say between 4 and 6:30, when that stillness exists, and if you're able to be conscious at those hours, your thought process is so deep and clear, okay? And I've had that experience multiple times. I used to do it on a regular. Got away from it a little bit, I'll be honest. But that, whether it's an hour or 45 minutes or whatever, but that hour in the morning, if you can channel that energy, that establishes such a more prolific and peace-filled day, because your thoughts are so much more intense. I need to get back to that, okay? And
incense, right?
Well, yeah.
Just burning those a little bit.
I got it burning. I had it burning this weekend. That definitely. But the point is, maybe that'll carry over to golf. I don't know. Not that I care if it does or doesn't, because ultimately, golf's for fun. But peace. That's what I'm chasing. What about
2025? Peace.
Yeah. I know that was deep, but
that's an answer expected from you. Without further ado, everyone, thank you again for another wonderful year. 2024 was fun. It was filled with a lot of drama.
It was.
But with that being said, I'm ready to turn the page of 2025. You all have yourselves a merry little Christmas with your family. Enjoy the holidays. Tell somebody you love them at the holidays, okay? Because it's something, whatever. Life's short. So tell them you love them, and have a happy New Year, too.
Yeah.
So, and healthy New Year, and stay off the wall field, and be careful when using Q-tips, and be careful when cutting a cigar. But with that being said, keep chasing, and make sure you go over to chasing_birdies on Instagram. Like, love, tap it. We appreciate all the support, even if it's a little support.
No, absolutely, guys. We appreciate all the love, support. This year was a fun year, even though I was without my partner for a majority of it. But as always, you guys have a blessed weekend. Merry Christmas, and have a wonderful, happy New Year, safe and sound. And we look forward to seeing y'all in 2025. And naturally, got to give a big shout out over to Rachel London, Jacqueline DiPaterio for helping us out here, and Evo, Allie, Emily for putting this thing together. You guys have a great weekend. Merry Christmas, and we will catch y'all in 2.